Okay, so we have Shay on, and she is gonna get, or she's gonna give us tons of tips. And I just have a couple questions to ask you. You can just jump right in. We only have 30 minutes. So, if y'all have pen and paper, or if you could get some of that, that would be good because you're probably gonna want to take notes. Okay, so the first thing that I want to ask you is just some questions. These are all things I've heard from my team that they've just like asked me, different stuff about this. Here, I'm gonna follow your video. Okay, so they just asked me different questions, and it was about like leading their team and things like that because obviously a lot of people on this chat or on this Zoom have promoted recently, and so they've got bigger teams than what they're used to. So, okay, people ask me sometimes like, okay, I have a team who just like doesn't work, or a section of my chart that just doesn't work. How do you lead somebody like that, or how do you lead a team like that?
So kind of going back to like when I was diamond and going double, a lot of my team was just a bunch of high schoolers. None of them had like a drive to work. None of them, really cared. They'd rather go out. And so I kind of dealt with that for a really long time of like literally so much of my chart being dead. And I know, Morgan, you kind of had that when you went diamond. You were like, I pulled this together by myself. I think it all just kind of goes back to like, people are going to join your business and you can't make them work. So people are either going to figure out the vision, catch the vision, and run with it, or they're not going to do anything. And if you spend like all of your time focusing on like your whole chart of who's not working, you're going to completely miss out on the ones that are working. And so like when I looked at my diamond chart, I don't even remember what my diamond chart looked like anymore because I just kind of shoved it out of my memory because it was so awful. But so many people on my diamond chart didn't work. And I think if I would have spent more time focusing on who wasn't working and like trying to figure out how I can lead them and how I can push them to work, I don't think I would have ever reached diamond. Same with double. What I do remember about my double chart is my emerald was a completely dead emerald. But I knew that if I wanted to go double, that emerald leg had to be pulled together by somebody, and that somebody was me. So you're never going to have a chart that's full of runners. Eventually you're going to have those leaders. As long as you're leading them to become leaders, you're going to find those people. But if you haven't found them right now, you don't even know who on that chart will become a leader one day. Like there's going to be people on your chart that you're like, oh, they're a 400 bucks right now. Like that's what they are. And then 4 months down the road, they're going to be going Ruby, and you're not even going to know what to do with them because you're just so shocked by it. So I think if you have a lot of people on your team not working, don't focus on them because you'll lose so much fire and so much passion with this business if you spend time focusing on what's broke and not what's like working. So there's people on your chart that are working, focus on them. Like in the time, like all those people that are not working, that means you're going to have to step up and fill that box because no one else is going to do it. If they're not working, obviously, it's going to be you. So focus on those people that are working super hard, love on them, pour into them so that they're doing their part, and you're going to have to pick up the slack for the rest of them. You can't lead them. You can't force them to work. All you can do is show up for them. If they're not going to show up for you, then you're just going to replace them eventually and just make it happen with what you have.
Exactly. And like, I mean, I said that last night on Cheyenne's Zoom that I did with her leaders, and we know this from experience. Like we know this because we did the wrong thing first, and so we're sitting here telling you on the other side of that, don't make the mistake that we did. Just learn from our mistakes. Don't do that, because I spent so much of my time focused on the ones that didn't work, wanting it for them because I saw so much potential in them, and I was like, but they'd be so good if this. Instead of saying, okay, they would be so good, but they're not, and it sucks that they're just like join this business that they have right in front of them. They have $1 million in their hands and they just won't take it. And I spent so much of my time doing that I lost a lot of really good leaders because I didn't pour into them like I should have been. So she's exactly right. And so just focus on the people that are working. And if there's literally no one on your team that's working right now, then sign more people. Like you just need new blood. Like you've got to keep enrolling people because they're going to come eventually. Second question, how do you teach your teams to duplicate, whether that's with customers or distributors? How do you get them to do what you're doing?
So I think the biggest thing, like I've always just said this over and over, is like if you're showing up and you're doing everything that you're telling your team to do, they're going to follow you no matter what. Like there's a lot of girls on my team that I enroll, and I'll look at their posts and they've like made some really good posts and they've taken my stories and they've just done it because I put that out there because I was doing what they're supposed to be doing. Obviously there's some people that don't, work that way and they really have to be taught, but there's some people that I'm just like, I wonder what made them do that. And it's just because they're following my example. They know that they joined me, that I'm going to lead them and I'm going to train them. And so I think the number one thing with that is just making sure that you're duplicatable, making sure that you are posting what you're supposed to be posting, making sure that you are, we have a boom chat. And so my team sees me enrolling, so they know that what I'm telling them is working and I'm not just not, enrolling. So that's just the biggest thing, is making sure that what you're expecting them to do, like anything you say in your chats or anything you tell your team, like, hey, do this, do that, they know you're doing it because they see it. They're not going to do something that they don't see you doing. So if you're not posting really well, they're not going to post really well because they don't have an example to follow. If you're not posting on your story, they're not going to post on their story because they don't see you doing it. It's just the biggest thing in making sure that you're duplicatable. That's really just key. Is like all of my new distributors, I train them all the exact same way. And then if some of them aren't kind of catching on, I kind of realize that maybe they need to be led a different way. If some of them are just taking off, then I know that they're going to be just like me. But there's some that are not. They're not that way. Maybe they're really green, and I'm not green, and I don't lead that way. So I kind of have to adjust how I'm training them and say, like, okay, like, do you have any more questions about this, this, or that? And they're like, yeah, how do we get paid? Then I know that they're green, and that's how I'm going to have to train them and kind of show them step by step. So that's another thing, is just making sure that you're kind of figuring out how people want to be led, because some people may need a little bit more detail or may need a little bit more love, or maybe they don't need you to tell them anything and you just need to just let them do their thing. So just being duplicatable, making sure you're doing exactly what you're expecting your team to do so that they follow you, and then just making sure that you're leading them the way that they feel like they need to be led.
Yeah, exactly. And then Darian said, what happens when some are all over the place with time training? Like, one newbie's done with her training in 2 days, and the others take days to reply to me with training with the next training step.
So there are some people, like that you'll text, like, hey, go log into your eSuite, and they're like, done. And then you're like, okay, make your first post, and they're like, done. And then there's some that, like, you can't get through any of that. Literally, that all just goes, like, I typically send them a text, and I'm like, hey, like, I just want to remind you that I'm going to go at the pace that you set. So if you really want to run with this, like, I'm going to go with you. Like, if you don't want to run and you kind of want to take it super slow, like, let me know, because you can feel that out. Like, if it takes them 3 days for them to make their first post, like, some people are like, well, I want to wait till my kit gets in. I'm like, no, like, you got to start, like, right now. You can kind of feel that out. And two, I just always make sure that I tell them, like, if you are ready to go with this, I'm going to go with you, and I'm always going to go at your pace. So, like, if you really need some income right now, like, let's pick it up and, like, let's get this stuff done so that we can go ahead and get you that. And plus that, the first 72 hours for your shopping spree, that can kind of, like, hustle somebody into working a little bit quicker. I know some girls kind of take their time and are like, hey, like, you have to get your first customer in, like, 72 hours. So let's see what we can do. And let's get these, like, start sending me screenshots so that I can kind of match your efforts and get those customers enrolled for you super quick. That typically doesn't. If it doesn't at that point, then I just kind of know they're going to be a little bit slower, and they may catch on later. But as of right now, I'm going to kind of match their pace and just kind of check in and say, like, hey, did you get a chance to log into your eSuite? Hey, did you get a chance to make your dirt list? Like, so I can continue training you. And then there's some people that just, like, never respond. As long as you're putting in what you're supposed to be putting in and, like, doing what you're expecting, like, like what you do with every single person that you're training, there's not going to be anything that you can do, but you can always just put in that, like, extra bit of effort for people that are kind of slower.
And what I do too is, like, if I've got a bunch of distributors that I signed all at once and I feel really overwhelmed with, like, oh my gosh, like, how do I train all these people? I use the Reach app, and that's like an app, I think it's free, and you just put people in groups. And so I have August DTs, September DTs, October DTs, November DTs. And so everyone I've signed up with their
Connect app.
Huh?
I do that with the Connect app. I forgot about that.
With the the It Works Connect app. And so, like, you can literally just type out one message. Like, I was talking about the Zoom, and I was like, I want to see you on the Zoom. If you want to be in our November to Remember chat, do this, and you'll be added. And I just sent it to everybody who joined this month. But then I'll go back to those people. I can look at that list, and I'm like, okay, so-and-so. All right, now I'm going to go text them something different. I'm not going to use the Reach app to text them, and I'm going to use that as my list to just, like, go look at. And I'm like, all right, Candace. And I'll go look at our last message and see what the last part of the training I sent her was. And I'll just go back and be like, all right, did you get a chance to log into your eSuite yet? And she's like, yeah, I did that. Okay, next step. And I do that with all of mine just to kind of keep myself on track of where I'm at with everybody so they all get through their training. Okay, the next thing is, how do you teach your new distributors to enroll distributors? That's, like, a really big question. Is we can enroll LLCs, pretty easy to do that, talk about the products, whatever. How do you get your newbies working on signing up distributors?
So when I got started, I literally just went to all of my best friends and I was like, hey, I'm either going to make a lot of money with this or I'm not going to make any, but I really want you to do it with me. And like, that's literally all I did. And I enrolled a lot of like I enrolled more distributors when I got started than I did customers. And so what I've always done with my new distributors is just told them, like, I know that you know 5 people sitting around you right now, whether it's your friends or your family, that could really use some extra income. Talk to them. Like, I always just say that. I know that you can find 5 friends, because I've kind of always, when I get distributors, I tell them how to go Ruby, like right out the gate, so that they're getting to 400 really quickly. And so that's something that I've always been able to share with people, is just saying, like, I know that you know 5 friends to get started with you that really could use some extra income. So then we kind of break down live posts. I have a message that I save in my text replacement that's a part of my training, and it just says, okay, let's go over posting. Posting is how you're going to get those distributors. I kind of break down how to make a live post, and I send them an example of mine. So that way I can kind of get them started on posting pretty quickly. And we have bump groups on Instagram. So like, one of the diamonds on my team will have like some girls that are posting really, really well and put that on their bump groups, and then they'll go comment on each other's posts. So it kind of encourages them to post more, because they're getting interaction on it. A lot of people's fear when they get started and they're not like, they're posting and they're afraid of what people are going to say, with, especially if you're younger. And I know a lot of y'all are on this Zoom are pretty young. A lot of people don't want to post because they're afraid that people are going to think it's stupid or they're going to be annoying. So when you get people commenting on your post, it kind of boosts your confidence. So I think that's a big deal of having like bump groups, so that people, when they first get started, they're getting interaction on them, so they don't feel as stupid for doing that and they're not like as uncomfortable. But just making sure that like you send them an example so that they know, and then kind of explaining and breaking down how important posting is. I typically send my message about following top leaders. I'll have like 5 in there. I'm pretty sure Morgan's in there. And I have them follow, just like 5 leaders on Facebook. And I always say, like, follow, don't friend. And I just kind of say, follow them as inspiration. This is what we do every day. And just making sure that they're kind of getting started so they know exactly. I think a lot of issues is like, I used to not say that. And I was like, why aren't these people posting? It's because like I didn't tell them how. They don't know. And you can always say like, go look at mine, but they don't even know how to do that. So making sure that they know exactly how to do it, and then just like giving them inspiration and people to follow too, is a huge thing.
I like that. I used to do that, and I think I'm going to go back to it because I totally forgot about that. So make list of leaders. Okay, I'm going to add that to my thing. All right, next question is, and we're just like rolling through these super quick so we can get to every one of them. But if y'all have questions that y'all want the answer to, feel free to drop those in the chat. And if we have time at the end, we'll go to those. Okay, next one. So you've promoted really quickly this year. So my question for you is, how do you keep motivation to shoot for the next rank instead of just taking a break and being like, whoo, we pushed so hard last month, I'm exhausted. I'm just going to chill this month. I'm going to maintain. I'm going to be good. And then I'm just going to wait. And then, come around like after conference, I'm going to really shoot for presidential. Like, you didn't do that. You were like, all right, I'm double. Cool. Let's go triple. And you're like, I'm triple. Cool. Presidential. So what made you keep wanting to run? And then part 2 is, how do you get your team to do the same thing?
So I remember I went double in March, and I still don't know how that happened, because like 30 seconds before that, I was making $200 as an executive, and we were talking about it on our Zoom last night, and I was like, can y'all like tell me maybe like what happened with our team at that point? And everyone was like, we don't know. It just kind of happened. But I think, the bonuses were huge, because I didn't have bonuses before that to kind of push myself. So I saw that and I was like, oh, because I'm very red. So I was like, oh, wow, a $15,000 bonus to go triple, on it. So what I always say to people when I decide to promote is, I literally just decide. Like on July 1st, there was nothing coming in between me and going triple diamond. I had my charts out. I was super far from being charted. I had uber amounts of volume that I needed. I decided I was going to do it. Encourage my team, like, hey, this is what bonus you're going to reach. This is how you're going to do it. And this is what you need. And like showed everybody. And we did power hours all the time. We were always Zooming. I know that's on purpose of the question, but like we were just going with that. And then after I promoted, I remember like triple was so hard. Like triple literally was so hard. And I got done and I was like, wow, that was really bad. Oh my gosh. And so the first came around and I was like, I'm just going to like hang out, for like a few days. I was like, I'm just going to kind of chill, I deserve it. I'm just going to sit back and not do anything. And I started to see like that my team was kind of doing the same thing. And I was like, this is what they talk about. this is what they say you should not do, because you get to your promotion, you kind of sit back, and then everyone else does, and then bam, your momentum's gone. Momentum is really hard to get and easy to lose. Like, and it's so true, because I could start seeing my team kind of, there was people like rubies that were super excited, and then we're kind of falling off and losing their momentum. And I was like, whoa, no, everybody stop, calm down, do not leave. So we kind of like hit that. And so then, that kind of went through. That was in July. August, I set my mind on someone else's promotion, and I think that was the biggest thing for me. I had already reached my promotion, but there were so many other people that needed to promote. So I just got my charts out. Charts are huge. If you are reaching for a promotion and you don't have your chart out every single second of every day, you have no idea how far away you are. You're not motivated. When I see empty boxes on my chart, I'm like, crap, like I have to fill those boxes. So when I did that for my team, I didn't have any promotions to reach, but my team did. So I got out my double diamonds chart. I got out a few other diamonds charts and saw how empty they were. And it wasn't my promotion, but I needed that for my promotion later on. So I was helping those girls promote, and that always made me so excited, was watching other people promote. And because obviously, like when you go triple and presidential, you have to break it apart because it's too big to do it all at once. And so I was focusing on other people's promotions, and that was super motivating for me, because it was making everyone else excited because they were promoting, and I was super excited to help them reach theirs. So that was a big momentum thing for me. And then October 1st, I was like 30-something distributors away from being charted for Prez, and like over 20,000 in volume. And I signed a 96 BB order on the very like first few hours of the day. And I was like, I'm going to go presidential. And I texted Courtney. I was like, hey, I'm going to go presidential this month. And she was like, okay, like, let's do it. Like, I'm excited. I don't think she believed me. I think she probably thought I was a little bit crazy, but I just decided it. I was working on everyone else's promotions. I was sending them charts, and I didn't announce that I was going to go presidential, I think, for a few more days. Got everyone's charts out. They were super excited and ready, and we just like went for it. And then now that I've gone presidential, everyone else has their charts out, and like there's like 3 or 4 girls that are actively pushing for double, and that motivates me. Like the months that I wasn't promoting, my enrollments never went down because I was focusing on everyone else's promotions, and that made me excited. It's the same thing for now. Like I have everyone's charts. I have charts taped up here on my wall, and I have charts out in my binder that I always have with me. And so I know that everyone else needs to promote, and that's what keeps me encouraged. So obviously the first few days I kind of took a break, took a little rest, and then I was back at it because I knew that, there's so many other promotions that go into ambassador. But I know that that's kind of what I have to focus on. So I know that like if you're a leader, and obviously everyone that's on this Zoom would love to see their team promote, get charts out. That's the number one thing. Get your chart out, get your team's chart out, and look at them every day. If you see empty boxes, that's not just their empty boxes, that's your empty boxes too, because those have to be filled for your promotion. So if you're not looking at that, if you don't have anything out in front of you, you can't have any goals to achieve because you don't even know what you need. So that's the biggest thing, is do not ever reach a promotion and not get any charts out, because then it just looks like you don't have that much to do when you do. So that's
exactly. And like she said, whenever you're going for bigger promotions, like I know I had so many people go double last month, and now you're looking at triple and you're like, holy crap. But I know a girl in particular off the top of my head who just texted me and said like she's literally saying my game plan, like this is literally exactly what I'm doing. And I was like, yeah, I know. So this girl in particular, she went double last month, and she's already got a chart out for her, like another girl to go emerald, and that's going to make someone else go diamond. She's already got a diamond, so she's going to have 2 diamonds. Her diamond is going for double, and then she's working on building her other leg too. And so she's going to get this diamond done this month, the double done this month, and then the next diamond is what she's going to work on after that. And so even though it feels like it's just so far away for her promotion, she's not stopping, because for me and Shay right now, presidential to ambassador is a massive jump. So I'm like, what the heck am I going to focus on? And so I have to build a whole other 5th leg and make it double, and it's just not anything right now. And so like I have to go in, and that's what I'm working on now. And making sure that I have everybody's charts out, whether they're on my chart or not. I've got their charts, and I'm working on them. I'm helping them, charting with them, giving them advice. And you just have to go and find those charts and those people that want to promote, and whether it helps you or not, it's going to benefit you later on in the long run. And you really want to just help your team, because if you don't feel like you're locked in for a promotion, just help your team. You're going to get there eventually. So I really like that.
Yeah, and it's huge too because people, you don't even know who will end up being, like, I know Morgan has said this before, the people that were on my diamond chart were not on my double. The people that are on my double were not on my triple. So if you go and you're helping all these other people promote, there can be people that go diamond in 30 days that you help that may have not been on your chart, but bam, that's a diamond that you need. And that other person that you needed may have not gone diamond, but it's because you were focusing on everyone else but yourself. That's so huge because I know looking at the next promotion is super scary. But if you break it apart and you're like, okay, well, this girl just needs to go diamond and this girl just needs to go emerald. And if I focus on these rubies and helping them, it's all going to come together. And then you'll look in a second and you're like, oh, I can go triple this month and just decide that you're going triple because it all comes together. Because that's what happened to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Let's see. All right. Okay. This is kind of a broad question, but you can say whatever you want. Okay. Well, let me ask this question first. What are your expectations for your leaders? So obviously, like, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a broad question too, but like, what do you expect your leaders to do as far as like getting on Zooms, as far as, you know, participating in group chats or the team page and posting in there and all those types of things? I feel like we have some awesome leaders on here who do all of those things, but I just want to see kind of what you think for your team are your expectations.
So it kind of goes back to me, what I was saying earlier on how, like, obviously what you do, leaders will shine out in all sorts of different places. People that you don't even expect to be your leaders. There's like rubies that, you know, have those incredible leadership qualities. Because I remember when I was Ruby, I was like, hey, like, can I make my own team page? Because I was so excited to lead. And there's so many people like that. So maybe, like, I know I used to get super frustrated with, I had a girl that was going diamond and I was like, why does she not want to lead? Like, why is she not showing up? And I was expecting her to be a leader in ways that she didn't know how to. So it always comes into the biggest thing of like, leadership can be learned. Sometimes it's natural. Like, I'm a natural leader. Like, that's what I love to do. And that's my like thing. But some people it's not. And so they're going to learn by example, number one, if they don't know how to be a leader. So just by you showing up and teaching them how to be a leader, you know, sending little tips and tricks into your chat or your team page, making those random trainings. I remember being a diamond and being so mad because I would have like 2 or 3 people that would show up on my Zoom and I'm like, why do I even do these? Like 2 different people show up. 2 to 3 people showed up on that Zoom and they wanted to be a leader. Okay. So like, show up and do those things, send those tips, do those Zooms, do those little things that teach people below you what a leader should do, because those people will like shine up, like come out of nowhere. And you're like, oh, wow, like you're going to go diamond because you're a leader. So if your leaders aren't showing up, maybe one day they will. You can always have that conversation with them and just be like, hey, like, I know you have an awesome team underneath you and you have some incredible leadership skills. We just need to find them. So just say like, how do you want to lead? Do you know like how to do Zooms? Or like, I know things come to mind, but like, you should talk about them because some people are maybe more shy or whatever. It's just not everyone's going to be the same. And I think it's kind of understanding maybe their love language, but more like their leader language. Like if they're super shy or maybe they don't feel confident enough in being able to share good things. So maybe have that conversation with them, send them a voice message or get them on FaceTime and just be like, hey, you're an emerald leader, and an emerald leader, I always put that in quotations when I'm talking to people, and just like putting emphasis on that and just saying like, look, you have so much to share and I know it. Like, let's just get it out. Like, if you have a tip that comes to mind, go ahead and share it. If you want to do a Zoom over something super like close to your heart that you really want to talk about, let's do it. Like, kind of dig those leadership things out of people, because I've had to do that, and now they're really good leaders. Before, they had no idea that they could be. And then just making sure that you're doing that too, because people are going to follow. You know, people learn that by seeing that you're sharing those tips and you're doing those leader Zooms and you're going live. People feed off that because they're like, oh, she's doing that and I want to do that. I'm kind of scared, but I know that if she's doing it, I can do it too. And people will come out of nowhere that you never expect to be a leader.
And I think, yeah, exactly. And one thing too that I've tried to start doing is seeing leadership qualities in people, like specific things that people are really good at, and like trying to find an opportunity for them to showcase that. So like, for example, one girl on my team mentioned like, oh my gosh, we should do a page for good posts, like to show like all the Insta stories for a specific product, or like, you know, messages for that, and like just all of this stuff. It's the social posting catalog page that we have. One girl on my team mentioned it, and I was like, you would be really good to head that up, you and this person and this person. And I was like, totally gave them, like, I was like, take charge, y'all go do this because y'all be really good at this. And so like, just finding people that you really truly believe are good at this, or like if a leader is struggling, they're like, I feel like I'm not good at teaching my team customer retention. Like, I don't even know how to teach them that. I'm like, you know what? So-and-so is really good at customer retention. I'm going to put you all in a group chat, and I want y'all to feed off of each other for your ideas because you're really good at enrolling, and this person's just really good at retention, so why don't y'all flip ideas? Instead of me saying, this is how you do this, I'm giving that person like, oh, I'm good at that? I didn't even know I was good at that. Okay, I'm good at that. Okay. And, like, they start getting that confidence, like you said. Okay, we have 2 minutes. So last question is, what is one thing that you've learned or realized that's helped you become a better leader? I know it's not just one thing, and technically the question was like, what things, but we only have 2 minutes. So what if we can fit into
So I remember when I went diamond and so that's a big thing is I lost rank in August to January, and I was making a hot $200, $300 a month. And the whole time I was literally like, why is my team not showing up? And why is this? And why is that? And I was blaming every single thing but myself. And I realized that now, because in the moment I had no idea that I was being like that. I was bulldozing my team. I was expecting them, because I saw how big my paychecks could be as a diamond, and I lost rank and my team wasn't enrolling. And I was like, I want this $2,000 paychecks back. Like, hello, come on team, like, let's go. And I was expecting them to do everything that I wasn't doing. I was not showing up how I should have. I was griping about making leader Zooms that 2 to 3 people would get on, and I was so mad. Run with those who are working, you guys. Don't bulldoze over your team and expect them to do things that you're not doing. Like, be willing to be uncomfortable and know that, like, in you showing up, your team is going to do the same. And you doing those leadership Zooms and you loving on your team and making sure that they feel loved before you're leadering them and making them feel like they need to do all this stuff without being your friend first. There's so many things that go into that, but I know that Morgan, like, exuberates everything that a leader should be, and she's your leader. Same with Jordan. So make sure that, you know, you're showing up. You're not expecting your team to do all of these things that you're not doing, and don't bulldoze over your team. Like, look at what you have, appreciate the leaders that you do have, even if it's 1 or 2, and don't focus on all the people on your chart that are not working. Like, be the leader that you want on your team. Do the things that you expect the people on your team to do, and it will go so far. Because I know that when I decided that and I changed my whole mindset and mentality on that, that's why I'm here. It's because I learned to love my team and not bulldoze over them and focus on the things that are going good, instead of like manifesting and saying over and over that my team wasn't working and this wasn't working and just griping about everything. And I discovered personal development too. So those are all huge things in figuring out all that goes together with being a good leader.
I love that so much. Thank you so much for hopping on here for us. That was so good. I know I learned a lot of stuff, so we'll definitely take this and teach our team. So thank you so much. Love you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.